Welcome, everybody. On behalf of the event circle, I'm Judith. Today, I'm introducing Judith Lowe, who actually started Generative Citizen. So it's a bit of a misnomer to really give an introduction to her. But what I've realised is that she set something in motion, which is a completely iterative process. The more you learn about it, the more layers there are. And when I first learned about it 2 years ago, we took each of the 5 practices separately. And today she's going to put them all together. So I don't think there's anything more, because the majority of you will know Judith, that I can say apart from Judith. It's lovely to have you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. And thank you, Wendy. And thank you, Vimla, as well. And lovely to see everybody. So I'm very pleased to be doing, an event for the Generative Citizen community. And it's to, in a way, introduce and reintroduce people to these 5 practices in a way that I hope you really enjoy, because as Maggie says, we're going to take one issue and kind of work it through the different practices. But also it's always a joy to kind of keep rethinking the kind of depths of what we have to offer. I really think, obviously this is drawn from Stephen Gilligan and Robert Dilts's work, the best of the best of the best, isn't it, really? And then this incredible creative collaboration that they've done, where we've got these leading edge, practical, psychological tools. We're the only group, I think, that's holding so much kind of real estate in terms of evidence-led tools for change that have been tried and tested over the decades, and that all the time every piece of new research shows, oh yes, this really works. And a lot of these tools, as you know, have gone out into every possible area and profession that there can be. There's nothing controversial here. It's really how it's been so skillfully and so deeply thought through and put together. And then hopefully our offering is to try and find something that is like portable. It's 5, it's 7 minus 2, that kind of 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information. It's 5 things, 5 practices that we can put together for everyday life. So this is the application from the work that Robert and Stephen did. That isn't a professional application. You don't need a certificate with it, or, it is just generally how you want to become more kind of generative, more friendly, more resourceful, more creative, more stable, more helpful, just in your everyday life, whoever you're working with, whether you're just being with your neighbors and friends and family, or you want to join a group, a community group, and maybe it's for social justice and change, or maybe it's a local library or something like that. So this is like the skill set we hope supports everybody to be moving in the world in a way that is truly kind of resonant with other people and contagious for other people. That there's something we can do. We can bring a kind of peacefulness and a presence wherever we go. But of course, as we all know, this is a skill we have to develop day by day over time. And that's life, that's our life, isn't it? It's a decision we can make about how to spend our time to actually kind of develop ourselves and develop these kinds of skills. So I've got a slide set, and we're going to do some exercises and some questions and interactions, and hopefully some demos as well. And we've got a couple of hours to do that in. So I hope by the end of this time together, you if you haven't already, you want to join our amazing community and do some events of your own and take these skills out to other people and integrate them into your own approaches to personal, professional growth, development, healing, communication, all the things that you might be doing because you've come this evening. I know they're part of your kind of suite and repertoire of what you're interested in. But as I say, I think these are the really leading edge psychological approaches to really getting done what we want to get done, which is create a really livable human future together and to be part of that, to really walk our talk. And we can only do what we can do. We're going to fall off that path a million times. I know I do, you know. But if you've got like a skill set and a practice, it's something you can always return to. You can always bring your sanity back and your resourcefulness, reconnect to your resourcefulness. You can always have those conversations, become more and more skillful with your words, more and more empathetic with other people, and learn more about the richness and amazingness of our world. So let me also just say hello to everyone who's joined us. There's quite a lot of people that I know. It's lovely to see you. And I'm going to share some slides and we will also do our first practice. So first of all, probably everyone should take a breath and just breathe, especially if you've been, feel free to kind of get yourself into the kind of state you want to be in, to be able to watch a few slides and hear a few explanations and descriptions from me. So this is really, as I say, you can see there's Robert and Steve. Practices for skillful living in challenging times is sometimes what I've also called it. And you can also see on this slide the 3 generative coaching books, which if you are new to this, they will give you lots more information, examples, exercises, models, descriptions of everything we're going to do, because literally there are multiple ways of doing all of these practices. And so although I'm only going to share one of each this evening, it really is in itself a kind of creative field. So let's hang on. So this evening, what I want to do is first say a little bit about the bigger generative change work and, the professional programs. And also then say a little bit more about Generative Citizen, I probably said as much as you need to know. And then we'll do something with the 5 practices and then thinking about moving into the future and developing our community. So here is Steve and Robert. This is the first page of the International Association for Generative Change. And so I just thought I'd put that there because this is the big field from which I've drawn the Generative Citizen approach, most of it anyway. And so you can find this for yourself. You can see, so there's 3 aspects of it, basically. There's a kind of coaching side, there's a trance and therapy side, and there's a business and consultancy side, and the sort of success factor modeling, generative collaboration, all of those kinds of things, working more with groups and in business and in the world. And then there's this sort of community support and practice as well in there. And you can see the sort of the range that this covers. And you can see, on the one hand, there's more of a focus on the individual, and on the other hand, the focus is on the bigger system. And then in the middle, you've got this generative coaching, which is, self-development, empowerment, etc. And you can see these words, quantum world and classical world. What that means is that we're constantly sort of drawing from the field of potential and bringing something into action and into form in the world. I mean, that's what creativity is. You're bringing something that is unconscious, unformed, full of from a world full of infinite possibilities, really, and then making it into something in the world that happens or that exists. And so the principles of generative change are very much about creativity and how reality is constructed, that we are constructing our reality. I mean, this is all borne out by neuroscience now, this idea of this predictive processing, this kind of simulation, and that we set these kind of filters. And so we very much replicate a lot of our experience. And this is actually very, it's a very effective way of being a human being, that we form habits and we form sort of known entities in the way that we think about things, but it can also keep us stuck. And so I think one of the important things about this work is the generative aspect of it, that we're looking to, find how to be creative, do new things in new ways, because that's what our world needs. We're going through this massive change, so it's not like there isn't anything new happening, but we need to be able to kind of shape it and come up and bring our own ideas on a human scale. As I say, a kind of livable world for human beings that's friendly and welcoming. We need to have ways of doing that. And I love this quote. This is from one of the books. Creativity is an ever-changing emergence that arises from conversations and connections between differences. So in other words, this is this kind of active, active engagement and connection with differences, so that there's so much learning and possibility there. And yes, the common and deepest ingredient in all of our lives is us. So whatever happens that we're present for or not present for is also related to us. So here I just swiped this from one of the books. I think it's so lovely. The conversation between the worlds, the world of kind of what could be and what's possible, and then the world where you've brought it through that kind of frame into reality. So and again, when we say reality is created in each moment, we don't mean each moment's generative, because most of it is this kind of habituated conditioning, this repetition. And what we're saying is, unless you bring this kind of more skillful, mindful, human presence, we're mostly just repeating the past. We're unable to be creative and create the future that we want. So the question for us is, what is it we want to create? This is the core question for us as a community, as individuals and as a community. What is it we most want to create in our world, in our lives, in our communities, in our jobs? And so then we have the Generative Citizen, which came about, I think I came up with the idea in about 2016, so it's quite a while back now. And Robbie Steinhaus and I were co-sponsoring a generative coaching program in London, and we were all out for dinner, and I was just kind of going, it'd be so great, wouldn't it, if there was a version of this that was just for everyday life, for everyday people who want to make a difference. I'd call it Generative Citizen or something like that. What do you think? And they went, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. And so it sort of started then, and then I started developing it and presenting it little by little, and now we have, a lovely community. So what we want to do is we want to be part of the growing collective of new ways to create reality. We want to join other people who are doing this work, who want the world to be more peaceful, who want to bring in ideas to solve conflict and heal people, and and make sure our world kind of continues to thrive and prosper. We want to be part of that movement. And we've got something to offer everybody. because what people get is they get a lot of burnout. They don't always have good communication skills. They don't always have good state management. You know, they're triggered, they're burnt out, they're angry, they're, then maybe lose compassion, especially losing compassion for the other. You know, that's very easy to do when you're in these kind of, very sort of divided situations. So we want to really offer, I think, the best, this kind of, as I say, this more sort of portable practices, everyday practices into this big movement that we know is an international movement, so that we're contributing to a sustainable world that's peaceful. We're open to all the opportunities amidst the crises for engagement and creativity. And we can start developing our responses in everyday public and private spaces towards an empathy and positive connection with others, and in a way that brings out the best in other people. So we're bringing out the best in ourselves, and we're bringing out the best in others. And so, and that can be quite a simple thing, like, being nice to your neighbors. That could be, because that generates a field of well-being, and people feeling welcome, and people feeling like they're seen and heard, and people feeling like they can contribute. The way that we relate to ourselves and to other people is going to make a huge, huge difference at any scale, at micro scale, at macro scale. And we're kind of offering these incredible tools to really enrich and integrate those skills and those abilities. So the 5 practices, which we're going to, as I say, explore in a sequence tonight. Obviously, this first one, the most important one, is the idea of state and what you might call self-management or self-regulation, or some kind of generative state where you're able to be connected to your resources, kind of stable, sane, creative, as I say, kind of helpful, friendly if needed. The second one is more a kind of self-development practice. Again, none of these are a one-off. They're all kind of ongoing. So self-development is more, I don't know what you would say, sort of wholeness, integration, healing from trauma, post-traumatic growth, just really being able to be your best self in any situation, and having tools to work with yourself. And then the third one is this empathy and connection across differences. I think that's really important. That to be creative, you welcome difference. Often people end up in groups with very, very like-minded people, and what we want to do is like welcome difference, because that's where the sparks are. That's where something new can happen. And then communication, of course, if you know NLP, that, I mean, neuro-linguistics, we have in our field like a wealth of knowledge and understanding about language and the impact that it has on ourselves and others, our ability to be influential, to be persuasive, to be able to, just use language both verbally and non-verbally really effectively. And that's going to be very important, especially in our world where there's so much fake news. There's even more fake news. When I first started doing this, there was some fake news, but now we're almost overwhelmed. And so how we can talk to ourselves and each other, how we can find things that are truthful, that we can say in words that make a difference, words that change minds. And then this last one is my own contribution to this, which is the idea. So my own contribution is really putting these together in this way, but also to add this kind of what I've called a citizen's knowledge base, which basically means, reading and learning about, different cultures or, different fields, so that we're all this time, researching and learning and enriching our maps and models of what's possible and what is known. And we also have an amazing community. And we decided a few years back to work on this sociocracy model, which I won't go into now, but it means we've got all these lovely self-organizing circles of people who are creating different aspects of this. And some are more active and then others are more active, and we're looking at a trainer circle, an event circle, there's a website and communications circle. And this is from our website, built by Jenny and Teresa. And you can see, this is sort of what we want. This is how we're putting ourselves out into the world. We want to develop ourselves, create effective communication. Our vision is to create a world where people feel safe, welcome, and creative. We're a global community of friends and colleagues, inspiring and supporting each other to build a better world. And we're adopting these 5 key practices, etc., etc. And so that is also in ongoing development. So this is a slightly different way of saying the more detail on these 5 practices. So, but just to say that what we're going to do this evening is identify something that you would like to work with this evening, so that you can have an experience of these 5 practices, maybe on some kind of, doesn't have to be a major issue, some kind of minor issue that has cropped up for you, where you would like to, be more at your best, where maybe you're not being quite at your best. I won't quite call it a problem, but maybe there's something that you would like, I'd like a bit of support on that, and to see what I can do with these practices. So you can see the first one is going to be this coach state, which I'll talk about in a moment. Then we've got all these different, we've done something in self-development with these archetypal energies. So these are just examples. We're going to use perceptual positions this evening. We're going to use some framing and some, what are the words that resonate and impact in a good way, bring out resources in the system. And then what kind of research would we do? So that means we can ask these questions. And so this is really what's interesting. We go, so from the coach state, what becomes more possible when you move into this better, more grounded, more resourceful way of being, more connected way of being, what starts to become more possible? Because we know the biggest change you can make at any time is to change the way you feel. That's going to change your world. That's going to open out this kind of realm of possibility for you and creativity. And then with the self-development one, we're going to connect to our resources, etc., etc., etc. So we'll work through these things. So we're going to start in just a moment with a practical exercise, but just to say this is what is called, if you don't know this work, the coach state. And it's a lovely acronym for being more centered, so you can feel that vertical midline, you can feel your feet, you're all kind of connected. You're more open in your heart, in your mind, from being more grounded, then we can be more open. This is a sequence as well. It's not that you're suddenly more open and then you're more connected. You need to have this sense of groundedness. And then when you're grounded, you can be more open in a very particular kind of way. And that will allow you to be more aware. And that will also allow you then to feel more connected to yourself and to other resources, to other people, and will allow you then to be what's called more hospitable, more able to be with whatever arises, whatever happens, more welcoming. Say, welcome. When I'm in this state, I can be with, my upset or my difficulty or my confusion in a wholly different kind of way. So again, another way of thinking about it is, what's the inner game of being a generative citizen? That and of course, as I say, there's many, many ways. I'm sure a lot of you do meditation or yoga or mindfulness, or there's lots of roots into this. My own practice is the Alexander technique, which again is part of this releasing of neuromuscular lock where our bodies go the whole mind body, settling in, settling down, getting grounded and present. And this is in contrast to what's called the crash model. Crash. So you've got coach, which is this more mindful performance state. And then that's in opposition to crash. And you can see crash is where, we're not centered, but we're kind of like, contracted. We can literally feel it in our muscles. Often our breathing stops. Our minds become smaller. We no longer can dip into the ocean of endless flow of possible solutions to things. We're all kind of in a small, tight world of habituated conditioning, usually. And we're more reactive. We're more likely to get triggered by things and be upset or be fearful or be angry. And often that leads us to go whoosh right up into our heads and go into this analysis paralysis. I'm just going round and round and round. There's never an exit. Same old thoughts, lots of internal dialogue often. And then rather than being connected, we are then separated from our resources, we're separated from ourselves, and we're separated from others. We're disconnected from what's going on. And then this is where we get violence. We get violence and we get hatred and all of those things. And you can see how this works across scale. That, a community that is more in a mindful coach state is going to be a generative community and be able to be creative. And if you can have whole communities that have gone into crash and then they've become violent and hating and things like that. But we're all just human beings, we're all capable of all of this. So we want to go, how can we skillfully be more in a coach state more of the time and help other people to be, because that's when good things can happen. That's when things can go well. That's when people can be more peaceful and have more fun as well, actually. So we all know in crash state, we go into these survival strategies, fight, flight, freeze, fold. And then we can actually scale this in our work in Generative Citizen, but also in NLP. We're scaling and calibrating on a scale. Where am I? At any given moment. This is what's going to build the skill, by the way, to be able to kind of go, well, what number out of 10 am I right now? And what do I need to do to move up the scale a bit? Am I in a kind of bumping along, 5, 6? I don't feel too bad, but I don't feel great either. We always say when you get to about 7, you've started to really be connected to yourself and all your kind of multiple intelligences, and bringing presence and mindfulness into your actions. So, I mean, there's another example on the vertical. And so this is one of our practices to be able to get into this particular state. And also, sorry, let me go back. Right. go into this state of coach state and be able to work from there. So let's, yeah. So that was a lot, but from then there's not so there's not so much of me talking after that. So I wonder if anybody's got anything they wanted to either say or they wanted to ask. I did see the chat was filling up with things, so let me just have a quick look at that. Oh, people saying hi, good to see you. That's nice. Okay. Asking if there's a recording. Okay. Yeah, Bernadette.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for this, Judith, in that very powerful quintessence of all the work. Just I wanted to share the tools we've got from the generative change work,
Yes.
developed by, it's so applicable in almost in all areas.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm currently working on my baby, which is generative parenting and family
Wow,
leadership.
fantastic.
And yes, and I'm running a beta test this month. Yeah. And that's something, it takes time. And
Yeah.
I still, as you were saying, what is it, in a coach state, being connected and centered, tapping into the field. What is it that we really want to bring out to the world?
Yeah.
And what I'm manifesting now is exactly what I had work on during my first training with Stephen. That
Great.
was before COVID. Takes
Yeah,
time,
wow. Yeah,
but then
lovely.
really on the right track. And and thank you again for this reminder. It's a bit like a
Yeah.
vax, like a vax
Yes, that's right.
boost, and it is continuous, and
Yeah.
definitely we are
Yeah.
going to crush. But then again, what's coming to mind right now is in the crushes, in the obstacles, this
Yeah.
is where the gem lies, let's
That's right.
welcome them to the
That's
table.
right. It's where a
Thank
lot of the
you.
information is about what needs to happen and how to heal and integrate. Absolutely. It's where it's your signpost to where the resources are, really. Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Bernadette. Thank you. So let us together have the chance. If you can get up, that is really great. If you can stand, and we'll just do like this coach state together. So if you don't know it, we'll give you an experience of it. First thing is just kind of move a little bit, especially if you've been staring at your screen. If you can't get up because you're attached to your thing, that's fine. But just kind of move a little bit because I've been talking for half an hour and it's quite good just to have a little bit of movement in the system. And and then just become aware of your breathing, that you can sense and tune into your body. Maybe you can even feel your heartbeat, so that we're just coming really into our bodies. As my heartbeat, I can feel my breathing, feel my diaphragm working. And do whatever you need to do just to release, particularly from the jaw, the eyes, your neck and shoulders, because that's where we're often, especially looking at screens, that's where we're often holding a lot of fixed, what Stephen calls neuromuscular lock. So we want to kind of be releasing that, because what we want is that sense of flow and connection in our bodies. And you might have your own ways of doing this. I mean, there are many, many ways, as I say, but this is just have a sense of that you can go down to your belly center, feel your belly center, breathe into your belly center, feel your legs and your contact with the floor. Feel that you can have that kind of sturdiness, that presence, that reality to yourself because you're in your body. Feel that you can release out through your shoulders so that you start to get down the midline a sense of being centered with the belly center, your heart, and your head. Your head, your heart, your belly center. And take a breath. So that is that centered. And then as you feel you're becoming more and more centered, you can open in heart and mind so that you start to become more aware even. Aware of what's going on inside you, aware of what's going on outside you. And as you do that, you can feel that you can connect to yourself, connect to your breathing, connect in and sense more and more your body, your feet on the floor, coming up through your legs, coming up through your torso, releasing in your neck and shoulders. And as you do that, you can start to feel more kind of welcoming because you're feeling resourceful and connected. And when we're like that, almost anything can happen and we can have kind of spontaneous, interesting responses that can be generative. Something new can happen because that's what we want in our lives. We want to kind of bring out, as well as our good habits, bring out new ways of seeing things, new ways of being, and bringing our presence into our everyday life. And take a breath and just notice what this has done for you. Just this small little exercise together, just breathing, enjoying each other's company. I'm enjoying your company. We're here together, breathing together, seeing each other on the screen, welcoming each other to this session. And just notice what this has done to your state. If it's moved it kind of up that vertical, where was it to begin with and where is it now? Is there a difference? Just kind of have a sense of some kind of measuring of that for yourself. Maybe your energy's gone up, or maybe you're more calm and peaceful than you were. What's happened to you as a result of doing this together this evening right now? What difference does it make? So let's come back together and I will do a little demonstration with somebody. But first let's just go back to my gallery view. Okay, what difference did that make? For whom did that make a positive difference? Who was that? For whom was that a useful thing to do? Yeah, great. And for those for whom you go, oh, it was just the same, or I hope it didn't make anything worse for anybody, but you never know. I mean, then you have learned something. You've learned something maybe about what you need. Maybe some words or some movements or some images, some metaphors that you would need. So this is a kind of build your own, build your own way of entering this very, very wonderful state of presence and being able to calibrate and work with it. So I'm wondering, I'm looking for somebody who would like to do, a demonstration with me. It's not going to be that much. It's like 5 minutes, but it's just to have a chance to do this and then for everybody to have a chance to do it together. Who'd be willing to do that? Who'd like to do that? I will pick somebody. I don't know. Who'd like to have a go at I mean, we're just going to be breathing. It's not going to be very dramatic, I'm afraid. You'd like to have a go? Yeah, lovely. Jérôme, lovely.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
good.
Good to see you. Good. So I don't know. So for this, you don't even need to tell us what your issue is,
hmm
but I'd like you to kind of pick something in your mind that you would like to work with. And are you able to stand up or would you prefer to sit down? Keep
Oh, I
still.
can stand up, yeah.
You can stand up. Okay, let's do that. So first of all, what happened for you, Jérôme, when we were doing this? Did it make a difference to you just to spend a little bit of time with yourself,
Yeah,
tune
it was
to your
really a
breathing?
grounding experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lovely,
yeah.
lovely. And what sort of on that scale of 0 to 10, where noughts crash, really crash, and 10 is probably, at your most sort of high performance state, what number would you say you are right now?
I'd say 7.
7.
Actually, I was in a rush to come here and I was
Yeah, that's pretty
out of
good
a
though.
long trip. And so it was lovely to
Yeah,
ground
that's
myself,
nice.
but I'm still in the kind of this agitation
I
of,
can see, I can hear that a little bit.
yeah,
Yes. So what would help you just kind of like just center a little bit more deeply that you can slow down and you can come even more present to yourself as well as with us together. So you can just park all of that, and just come present in yourself. Bring your attention down more into your belly, I think, probably away from your head, and release and relax your shoulders and your neck. Just kind of like let your head and neck be a little bit more loose, Jerome. Yeah, can you feel that? Just
yeah,
let your shoulders as well. Just let your shoulders be a little bit more flexible. Roll them a little bit round. I think that will help. Lovely. Okay. How's that? Has that sort of settled things a bit more? Maybe there's a gesture that will help you, Jerome, where you could go like this, center yourself like this, moving
yeah,
your
it's simply
hands.
this, I think. Yeah.
Do
So,
this. Okay.
yeah,
That helps.
yes.
Okay, good. So are you feeling a little bit more calm, bit
Yeah,
more peaceful and present?
yeah, it's with myself, but it brings a sense of connection.
Lovely. That's nice, isn't it? It's a nice experience, isn't it? Especially when
Yeah.
we've been agitated. It's nice to kind of go, oh, here I am. Here I am. I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten. There's all this resources right here. I forgot.
Yeah,
Lovely. And what number would you say you are now? Do you think that's gone up a little bit for you?
yeah, still many things in my head, many thoughts,
Okay.
many decisions to make, many,
Okay. Okay. So I'm
yeah,
wondering if that can just all quieten down a little bit more.
yeah, that's the state I try to put myself, to bring
Yeah.
myself in. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see what
yeah, the
happens.
state.
I mean, let's see. So what happens when you think about this issue that you've got? Uh, what
Yeah,
happens? What do you first notice happening that takes you, even though you're not fully maybe in a coach state, you've still some things going on in your head, but you are quite, you're quite connected. You're breathing and you're present to a large extent. But when this other issue comes up, what happens in your body first? What do you first notice? Because this is how we get to establish a practice. We start to get distinctions in what we notice. I mean, do your shoulders tighten? Does your breathing stop? What actually happens in your experience?
yeah, Yeah, what I'm thinking about, it's about the decision to make, and
Yeah.
there are risks involved.
Yeah. What happens in your body with
And
these
then
risks when you
when I
think
think
about
about it,
this?
mostly constriction in my,
That's right. It happens here, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Okay. Well noticed.
yeah, the neck.
Yeah, and here. That's sort of what I was saying, wasn't it? Earlier, I sort of thought, oh, well, this needs to have a little bit of love. I wonder if you
Yeah,
just put your hands behind and particularly where your skull meets your neck, just give a little bit of massage, light, gentle
yeah,
support. Feel
yeah,
that you can, move and loosen and soften there and in your jaw and in your shoulders, that you can release your shoulders more. That's right. So your arms can be more of a sort of ballerina's arms. Yay! That helps, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I like this
Well
movie.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah, well done. And
there's
then
a
come back to this kind of more of a coach state as much as you can. Just if you can just let all of this drop down into your body more so that you can be clear. Release in your throat, release in your neck, release and soften your shoulders so that it's nice. It's nice to be in your body. It's a pleasure to have your head and shoulders because they're soft and they move and they've got their own little dance.
yeah.
Nothing's stuck, nothing's stuck. What's that
There
like?
was a lot of in my jaws, my
Yeah,
jaws.
that's right. That's right.
And to
Well
be
done.
just
'Cause
being mindful of it is
yeah,
helpful. Yeah,
yeah. What difference does it make? I know it's only going to make a small difference because we haven't done the whole piece of work, all of that. We're just doing this little by little. When you're
yeah,
more in a coach state,
yeah.
what
It's
starts to become more possible for you, Jérôme?
mm, first I felt even more grounded,
Yeah,
more relaxed,
fantastic. Well
calmer,
done. Well
and
done.
also kind of I can put these things on the side and examine it
That's
without
right.
being myself
That's
and
right.
taking all the place.
That's brilliant of you. And when you put things a little bit more to the side so you can examine it, it doesn't go into you, it's out here.
Yeah, it's a part of me. It's not all of me.
Yeah, that's right. It's just a part of you, it's not all of you. What does that make more possible for you? You can examine things more, you can be more
You
relaxed,
can establish a dialogue with it.
you can establish more of a kind of dialogue rather than it all spinning round and round.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So helpful.
yes,
Yes. Lovely. Thank you so much. That was
thank you.
lovely.
Thank
Yeah, and now you know. Now you know
you.
something.
Yeah,
To kind of like, do your little dance and kind of help yourself,
yeah,
just reorganize everything. You haven't lost anything by being more in a coach state. You're able to have a different relationship so that you can do something different. Something new can happen.
yeah. Right. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Right. So, this is our first little exercise. We're going to be just in pairs, just 5 minutes each. It's a tiny thing. You're not trying to solve a problem particularly. You're just trying to see what you're asking a question. If you're in a more of a coach state, what does that start to make more possible for you? And maybe it's only the tiniest little thing and the problem is still there. His problem's still there. He's still got to examine it. He's still got to work with it, but he's got a wholly different relationship to it. And that's what bringing this state of presence with yourself is going to allow to happen for you to make happen. So, any questions about this? So we're going to go into pairs, about 5 minutes each. Both get into coach state. You can share or not share something of the problem, but don't spend a lot of time on the content of it because that doesn't really It doesn't really matter to anybody. We're not trying to solve anything per se. We're trying to set up the conditions for you in a skillful way through the coach state, which allow a different kind of connection to your resources to become established. And then that has a magic of its own. It's like these kind of emergent properties that allow something to happen. Any questions about this? It's quite gentle, like I did, you know. Yeah, Georgianne, hey.
Sorry, I can't do the exercise. I got a bad throat.
Oh, all right. Well,
I'll just sit back.
Yeah, you just sit back, have a little snooze,
Yeah.
and then we'll wake you up in 10 minutes. All right. All right. So I think V is going to put us into pairs, 5 minutes each. We'll let you know when that's it. And do whatever you can with this coach state. What difference does it make to hold this issue in more of a coach state? And help each other breathe. I helped him a little bit with this. You know, I could see he'd got very tight here. So I just helped him a little bit with this.
Now, one room will have 3 people, just because of the numbers, but everyone else will be in 2.
Brilliant, lovely. And then if you're in a room without anybody, we'll move people into your, you know, we'll move people around if you end up without someone. Hello, Marianne.
And there are 10 minutes each, or 5 minutes each way, so 10
5 minutes
total.
each. It's just because we've done the coach state together, so then re-access it.
Okay, here we go. Now, Maggie, I put you in a room, but you don't have to go into a room. You can come back out. Oh. Yeah. Elizabeth, are you able to join?
Hi, Bimala. I cannot
Hello,
practice
Daniel.
today. I'm just listening to Judith while doing
Okay, you're
something else.
not
I
going to
cannot
join the practice. Okay, let me
Yeah.
just move. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The anchor.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be smooth the rest of the 4
It'll
steps.
all be smooth, Tivo.
Hey.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back.
Don't forget to record. Oh, recording. Good, jolly good. How was that? Was that nice to do? Did that make a difference?
Mm-hmm.
We were just saying it's not always easy just to start breathing. Sometimes you've got to, like, you know, dance your way or hop your way or sing your way or paint your way or hug your way into the coach state. You've got to find multiple entry points to kind of help you, you know, guide you along that path. Anybody have any comments? Like, what did you get, like a change? Did something kind of shift for you? Did something become more possible? That was the idea. If you change your state and you really kind of, you know, skillfully hold that and bring that state of presence to some problem, what starts to change? Because a lot of things can change from there. Who had something where you could answer it relatively briefly?
Well, I can share a little bit.
Yeah, Angelique, that would be lovely.
Yeah, I had a beautiful dance with George. We just
Brilliant.
danced our way
Yeah,
through the coach state. And it
yeah,
was also nice that the different energy, like the different ways of getting there. There's not one
yeah,
way of getting
lovely.
there. Like for
Yeah,
every person, it's very different.
yeah,
And equally that you can inspire each other in the
yeah,
moment to really
that's
allow a
right.
little bit of the other way and then maybe expand a
Yes,
little bit through that, deepen through it, and feel a little bit more grounded. So
yeah,
it was very
lovely.
creative, I have to
Yeah,
say, just these 10 minutes in
yeah, very nice.
experiencing this together.
Yeah, that's why it's nice, isn't it, to have each other, as you say, inspire each other, those mirror neurons firing away, and these kind of creative ideas from people. Yeah, because you don't want to have just one way of getting into the coach state, because it so underpins all the other work and all the other kind of hopes and dreams that we have for what we can make happen differently in the world. So that's lovely. Thank you. So let me show the next practice. The next practice is the self-development practice. So we've done the coach state. What becomes more possible? Self-development. Now I did this, so there's lots of aspects of this. I had loads of slides. I've just cut them down to like one, therapy, healing, working with the shadow, working with archetypes. But the process is we're in a process of self-development, of further integration and wholeness. And so we're doing things that are going to be part of that goal and that achievement. So I did actually do this in the reunion. I did this as well in the reunion. Because I think it's quite a nice personal development practice, because it really kind of goes, it's about being yourself and staying yourself in challenging situations. And it's to do with, again, noticing what's going on. The key to all of this is awareness and having distinctions. What's happening in my body? What's tightening up? What's happening with my breathing? How am I standing? How am I holding my shoulders? What's happening in my mind? What are these thoughts? What are the pictures? So that you begin to become more and more aware of all of your subjective experience. And so this is part of that, but it's also developmental in the sense that what it's going to do is to go, what is it I'm actually feeling? And then what do I need? And this is what's going to connect you to your resources more. And so that's a presupposition in NLP. We kind of go, people have got resources. We've all got resources. And the only problem we ever have is that we disconnect from them. That's the sort of thing Erickson would say. The problems that people have is they've disconnected from the resources they need to solve that problem. So this is a kind of developmental practice. One of thousands of ways of working with this bigger practice of identity and integration. Here's one of the many practices that we could use. And we could go, and so now what's your goal? So I am going to why don't I do another demo? Wait a minute, stop share. And who would like to do this with me? I was actually thinking of maybe doing it with the same person, but I could do it with somebody different if there was somebody really eager to do this with me. Who would like to do it? I need to be on the gallery view. Who'd like to have a go at doing this with me? Go on, you want to. Bernadette, hey,
I'm happy
let's
to
do
if
this
no
together.
one wants to.
Yeah, lovely. Let's do this one together. So first of all, I'm going to do like a quick, it's going to be very quick little way of doing this, but I want you to take the issue that you've just worked with. So we're going to create this continuity through the practices of staying with the same issue. So if I was working with Jerome, I go, oh, we know he's got a decision and we know there's risk. So we'll take that same one for this.
Yeah.
So first of all, Bernadette, let's center ourselves and just slow down a bit. And so you can come present with this. And I'm wondering now, as you do that, in the issue that you've chosen, that's a kind of problem or a kind of when you're not quite at your best, I'm wondering what the feeling is that you get when you are connected to that issue or in that issue in some way. What's the actual emotional feeling or physical feeling that you have?
Right now, it's physical. I'm feeling tingling.
Tingling.
Yes, like from my head down to my arms.
Okay. And is that like, I mean, is there a label like, I don't know, anxiety or something like that goes with that?
A little bit of overwhelm.
Little bit of overwhelm.
But
Okay.
nothing major, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. And
Yeah.
that's lovely, beautiful work, like Jerome did, of kind of going,
Yes. Yeah.
oh, I can now feel this. I can talk about it. It's like this tingling feeling that comes down here. And then if I was going to say something, it would be like there's a little bit of overwhelm in there. It's not overwhelming.
It's not overwhelmed. It's
but
overwhelmed, but in a positive way, in that I really feel it's feedback. And yeah, it's not I mean, in many instances, that would be like a big mountain sort of thing, and I'm going to crash. But right now,
yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it's
already ahead of me. You're doing question 2.
Sorry.
No, Bernadette, it's brilliant of you. No, you've already moved it's moved, hasn't it? You said, well, it would have been a mountain, but already it feels like.
Yeah, it's already, definitely. It's
I
already,
get that. You've already kind of transformed that. So I'm
yes,
wondering the second question, just to be clear with the second question. So you would say, so when you feel this, and I know you've already it's changed, but you feel this, sometimes this mountain or this tingle or whatever it is that from time to time you experience.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can identify what are the resources you have and you can feel in your body. If you want to hold your body as you feel this, do that. What are the resources that are really great to connect to that you have all along within you?
I see past experience, past events, very similar.
Yeah. Where you have
also see resources outside of me, but into which I can simply tap into.
Fantastic.
And
if you were to kind of go resources in your body, where would they be? If you kind of go this,
like
here
and heart, like head and heart.
Head and heart. Fantastic.
Yeah. Because
Fantastic.
I know,
That's lovely.
It's here. And then I can also tap into it in a conscious way, exactly when that was and what, I can sort of deconstruct and chunk down what I did, carry it with me, and
So these are our 2 main questions. We actually got 3 parts of this. One is like, what are you feeling when when this issue comes up or issues like it? What are you feeling? Where in your body? What are the words you're going to use to describe that and the movements that you'll use to describe that? First thing. So you start to build awareness and distinctions. Second question is, so now I want you to sense the resources that you have all along that you want to connect to when you have those kinds of experiences. So that's like really bringing in that coach state as well, bringing in that centeredness, going, oh, here they are. They're in my heart. They're in my head. You know, they're past things. They're things on the outside, all of those things. So here's our third question. And this just answer very simply. This is the reorientation that we do both in NLP and in generative change work, which is, so now, what is it you want to make happen? What's the goal here? Or what's something that you want to create in your life or in the world now that you're connected to your resources?
Yeah.
And something very brief. You know, Steve Gilligan always goes 5 words or less. Maybe there's just one word. Maybe it's just a symbol. Maybe it's a movement.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I thought you would be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. And
Yeah.
where do you feel it? Where do you feel it, Bernadette?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to make a movement, what would the movement be? Yeah, I love that. I love that.
It's really the omega sign where and it's I'm locking it in. I'm locking it out and in.
Yeah.
So it's really this.
Lovely. So now just take a breath. Yeah. And relax and release. And just notice we've just done a tiny, tiny little practice, just a little feather touch of a practice, but a practice that makes a difference. Hasn't it? It's made a difference for you. Something's really been allowed to change, connect, and then get a direction.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's lovely. Thank you. So let's come back to the gallery. Let me show you all the slide again. I think we've got time to do this in a pair as well. We won't have time to do all of them, but let's do this one because I think it would be a nice one to do. Let me show you the slide, and if people want to take notes or take a film, screenshot. Sorry, that's the next one. This one. So you're remembering being in the coach state. So don't fall into crash, because you can only connect to the resources in the coach state. Otherwise, you end up using the same structure that's created the problem. So you need to be fundamentally in a coach state and kind of access a little bit this situation and the negative emotion that it brings up for you. And just go, what is that? Can you put that into words? Bernadette had some beautiful somatics with it. She had some words, she had some images. And as she did it, because she's done this work, she'd already kind of transferred. She said it was a mountain and now it's not, it's kind of like she already changed. But so then those kinds of things, I want more. What are the resources that you have all along that you can now sense that you really can more deeply connect to? Resources inside you. Where in your body are they? Make it a physical, somatic experience. Maybe there's some words, maybe there's an image. And then when you have that, what's the goal? What do you want to make happen? What is it you want to create in this situation? Or, so that you're oriented in terms of this, creating the future from all the kind of possibilities. So it's those 3 little stages. And again, only 5 minutes each. So this is not, you're not trying to solve anything. You're not trying to do any therapy or coaching or anything. You're just going, well, let's give this a go. See what happens. And when in doubt, get the person just to breathe, come back into a coach state, have a laugh. It's not that big a deal. It's just 5 minutes. What is it that you feel? When you feel that, what's the resources now that you can identify that you had all along? And then where do you want to go with this? What's now your goal or your intention with this situation?
Okay. Everybody's ready?
Lovely. Thank you. 5 minutes each one. That was our second practice. So the first one is coach state. The second one is doing something. That was just an example of something you could do that kind of is developmental and really connects you up to your resources around something specific, and then directionalizes you where you go, this magical thing. What do I want? What's my direction? You know, what's my intention? What's my purpose now? What do I want to make happen? Because that's how, again, everything will reorganize around that framework and around that filter for you. So let us, I mean, how is that for you? I know I've got 3 more to do in about 20 minutes, so I'm going to speed along a little bit, but how is that for you? Any George? Good. A little heart floating up. Lovely. Thank you. Good. It was good. It made a difference. Yes. It's such a little simple practice, that practice that I've given that example of in that. It's so helpful though, because it makes you go, what am I feeling? And what do I need to kind of reconnect to? And now I've done that, where do I want to take this? You know, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to make happen? Lovely. All right. So let us be moving swiftly on. So the next practice is this idea, obviously, of empathy, and so many ways that we can develop more empathy. But I've also put, so it's empathy, it's compassion, and it's connection across difference. You can see suggestions here, you know, the arts, embodied understanding, you know, learning meta programs, we might say, which are these kind of filters in NLP. So many different things that we can do to, this is a lovely, you know, very, for me, very sort of different, wonderful piece of creativity from this artist, Judy Napangadi Watson. It's just so beautiful. I love it. It's so vibrant. Imagine that being in your world, you know. I think just really connecting across. I mean, that's a kind of cultural difference for me, going, wow, imagine that you're living with this in your heart and soul and vision. Incredible. But we're going to do this, which is this idea of these perceptual positions. And so a lot of you will know this model where we have a kind of first position where you're looking at something through your own eyes, you're standing in your own shoes, you've got your own view on something. This second position is where you step into the shoes and the experience of somebody else insofar as you can. But of course, if we know somebody else, we have been on the receiving end and in you know, in a kind of dynamic interaction with their behavioral gestures and their words and all of those things. So we have a lot of intuitions about what their world is. So in the situation that you've picked, we're going to step into our own shoes, and then we're going to step across into the shoes of someone, of the other person. And again, you can also step back to third position. We can step into this kind of we position. The model is quite, you know, developed in that sense that there's actually 4 positions, but we're just going to do the first 2, and we're going to step into the second position just for now, to go, and what's the value, what's the positive intention that's driving the behavior from that other person? So then we'll be able to again say, what are we going to become more aware of if we're more empathetic and we're stepping more into other people's shoes and seeing things through their eyes? So again, there's a kind of more developed, rich version of this. But let's all do this one together as a group. If you can and want to stand, feel free to do that. And then take a moment just to breathe. You've got your coach state. You now are also connected to resources. and to a kind of sense of what it is that you'd like to, at least an initial sense of what you'd like to make happen in this situation. So you know what's going on in your own experience. And I'm wondering, what is it like to take a step into the perceptual, into the perspective of another person in that situation? I mean, if there's more than one person, pick any of them and go and step away from yourself and step into their shoes. What's going on for them? What's happening in their experience in this same situation that may be different, or maybe some of it may be similar to yours? But if you step over and you try and kind of inhabit their body a bit and inhabit their experience a bit, sometimes it helps to kind of step into their somatic dance a bit more. If they hold themselves a particular way or they have a particular expression, sometimes that can help to build this intuition of what's going on over here in the shoes of the other. So that's the first thing. What are they feeling? What are they wanting? And then the second question is, and from being inside the other person's body, as it were, and their perspective, what's really driving, what's important to that person? What's important to them? And you can feel it on the inside as you inhabit their perspective. What really matters to them? You may not be able to catch this, you might be able to, you might not, as we're running through it quite quickly. But what's of value, or what we might call a positive intention, like something that's meaningful, that's acting as a filter for this person? What's important to them in this moment? And take a breath. Just sense whatever you can, whether it's a lot or a little wisp of an intuition or a lot of information. Give your body a little shit and step back into yourself. Take a breath, recenter in yourself, and look across at that person and notice what you've become more aware of. What have you become more aware of? How has this changed your kind of experience of this situation, from having stepped into their shoes and then back again to your own? How has it enriched and informed your understanding and your appreciation of this situation or this problem or this issue? What has it added to your, deep knowledge, intuitive knowledge, to have done that? It's a very specific kind of skill to use, to literally step into the shoes of other people and take on their perspective and what's meaningful to them. And then be able to step back to yourself and somehow incorporate that into your sense, hopefully, of some kind of understanding and compassion and empathy for them. So come back and sit down. Let's see. For whom did doing that, just shifting perceptual position, for whom did that make a little bit of difference? Anybody could say? Jérôme, yes. What happened for you?
Yeah, it was like it's a bit hard to describe. It was even feeling physically different.
Yes.
Feeling like not just being in the shoes, but being in the body of the other person in a way, being like, and even physically, and feeling emotions, but it was very delicate, very
yes,
subtle, and yeah,
very subtle. Yes.
yeah, but it.
And how has it made, what are you more aware of now? How has it made a difference for you?
It was also like retracing the journey, the little journey we had during the exchange.
Yes.
And coming back to that path and walking it again.
Yes.
And feeling it inside.
Yeah. And was that helpful for you? Was that helpful for you? A good experience?
Yeah, because with maybe like if we had more interactions, it would be more more profound, more connected, more and
that's lovely. Yeah.
More helpful, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharon. That's again a little tiny short example, not even the full perceptual positions exercise, really. But I think that's really beautiful to kind of go, yeah, I think if we did that more, met up maybe more, there'd be something there that we could enjoy and that we could have that connection. Lovely, lovely. Okay, I'm going to rush a little bit for us into the next one. Thank you so much. So that is, what do you become more aware of? What a beautiful answer from Jerome. And then communication, I mean, again, we're just sort of so going on the surface of this, but obviously we have this tremendous communication model, particularly in NLP. You know your outcome, and you're working flexibly with feedback all the time, and you're just trying to kind of land some meaning in the way that you want it to, and have the impact and influence and understanding that you want. And we have so many different models to use our language where we can shift perceptions and perspectives in ways that literally bring resources to life, bring things alive, bring more choices into view, and more possibilities, have that kind of sense of more possibilities. So I've just put these up because this is, if you want to follow this up, the great works of language in this part of the field are really Robert's Sleight of Mouth books, which are about framing. And you can see on the left-hand side of the screen that he's used all these incredible models like Shakespeare and Gandhi and Socrates and Lincoln, things like that. But honestly, if you want to find out more particularly about patterns of persuasion and conversational belief change, and in our world, this is going to be so important that we can help people think about things. We can bring other people and ourselves back from the kind of brink of social media induced kind of madness, with our words, if we can. And so this again is like, there's a whole, patterns of persuasion. There's so many other things as well, but you can see, you can help to introduce doubt, you can change opinions, you can do all kinds of things with words. And so this practice is about communication in the biggest possible sense, obviously, all kinds of communication, including what we're doing now. But I've particularly focused on words and spoken words, as this is more our kind of, package for everyday life. This is particularly, I think, an interesting one. Like, what kinds of words can you use that tell the truth of a situation that you're in? Are there any words that you could be using that would bring out the best in yourself and others? Are there any words you could be using that presuppose that you and the other person or the other people do possess resources, and that honors the values in the system and the motivations and these kind of meaningful positive intentions? So really the question there is, what words or phrases start to trigger truth and resources? And I wonder if you will do this again as a group and just take a breath and come back to your coach state and think about, sort of access the situation that you're working with and think of what might be a couple of words that are just popping up for you now that would kind of like shift the vibe, shift the vibe, you know, change the perspective, bring different resources out in a way that helps people, you know, maintain a kind of stability and steadiness and focus on what's real and possible. And I'm wondering if you could jot maybe a couple of words down in your situation from a coach state, kind of go, what might be a word that I might use more, or a phrase I might use, or maybe even a tone you might use. Is there a tone where you're kind of like going, well, because of course there's so many ways we can use our voices. We can say, I love you. And we can say, I love you. They're the same words, but with very different meaning. So I'm wondering if there's some different words or phrases or ways of saying something, or ways, you know, just of communicating in that situation that just pop up into your awareness right now, that you go, ooh, that would be good. I hadn't thought of describing it that way. Even if it's a word for yourself. Like, I know some people like to change things from problem to challenge or something like that, or from difficulty to opportunity. You know, I mean, those are sort of classics, aren't they? But maybe there's something for you that just popped up where you go, oh, I think if I spoke more softly, or if I had more humor, or, you know, I was a bit more stern, or something different could pop up in this situation for me. So let me just ask somebody. Hello, Angelique's little child. Hello. What's your name? Hi. It's good to see you. So let me ask, so George, what would be a word or a tone or something that just now, just intuitively seems to pop up where you go, there's something that would make a difference?
Speak more melodiously.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, there you go. Speak more melodiously. So bring the kind of music in. Yeah. Lovely. Bring that kind of flow in and that expressiveness, isn't it? It's a kind of expressiveness. It's emotionality, isn't it? Rather than kind of maybe kind of go, well, I'm a bit more robotic, but now I can kind of, how are you doing? That sounds absolutely great, George. I love that. Thibaut.
For me, it's Scooby-Doo voice. So what would Scooby-Doo do?
Great.
Oh, well. For me, it's just one word, trust.
Yeah?
Trust.
Trust. Okay. And what does that do for you, Wendy? What does it change?
That opens up the field of communication.
Ah, great. Lovely. So this is, again, like the most simple thing. There's so much, there's so much we can all continue to learn throughout our lives about communication, and using our language, using all these different forms of communication. But that is a practice. So I'm thinking all the time to keep on getting better at my communication. I keep on using my words or using whatever medium I'm using to bring out more of the best in myself and more of the best in other people, so that together we can be generative. We can create this contribution in creating our human future. So that's our fourth one. And then the last one that I added to the suite is this one, which I called A Citizen's Knowledge Base. And it's really about what knowledge, as you can see under number 5 here, what knowledge or information could you research? And I had just a few, so I put a curated, so I've looked at all the things that you could look at, like, reality-based, history or social history or something like that. Things to do with race and culture and ethnicity, or things to do with sex, things to do with class or poverty or inequality, things to do with the climate. But the idea of it is to be non-ideological and non-confrontational. So it's in a coach package. So in other words, we're not weaponizing knowledge here. We're using it from a coach state to actually influence ourselves and widen and deepen our own perspectives and understanding of a situation. So I've got a few little examples and I'll whiz through them. This is a historian I really like called David Olusoga. And there's on this link, which I haven't got time to go through, I've got a friend who does modeling and he's modeled him on his website. He's done some amazing documentaries for the BBC. This was the one that I was going to mention where he's looking at the reparations and he's looking at these huge ledgers of who was given money as reparations for slavery, particularly in the Caribbean. So there's a lot of this to learn if you're from the UK, but it's a kind of an amazing program, an amazing clip. It was just so stunning to learn this. And he's written a wonderful book. So these are kind of some of the projects that I've done. I've learned more about the East India Company. It's a great book called The Anarchy by this guy called William Dalrymple. He works with this woman in a podcast called Empire. So I listened to a lot of that and learned a lot about people all over the world and history of all over the world. And she has also written a book about a fantastic Indian suffragette who is here in the UK. So I love that. Then I got another little local project where we've got some of these Benin bronzes in my local museum. And there was a fantastic community meeting to decide what to do with them. And again, this enriches my whole sense of history and how we've got to where we are, especially in the UK, having been, colonizing, enslaving empire. Then another one, this is a fantastic book actually called Invisible Women. And it's about the data bias of things like safety tests and medical tests and things that you handle and all kinds of things that are too heavy or mismatched or the wrong height or the wrong shape or wrong for women. They've all been designed around a sort of default male. It's a very, very good book. And then she's a person who got Jane Austen on our banknote and Millicent Fawcett in Parliament Square. Never been a statue of a woman there. She was one of the suffragettes. So the idea of the citizen's knowledge base is it's a practice. You're constantly kind of reading and studying. You're evolving in wisdom, updating your models of the world in useful ways. And with evidence, empathy, humanity, human rights, fairness, justice, and it's grounded, as I say, in a coach state. It's not about your personal opinion or psychology or your feelings or whatever. So in other words, it's to rather than, it's to really genuinely help you understand our world better. So that's the 5th practice that is like a study group of one or more, But the question that I have for you right now is, in your issue that you've been working with this evening in this session or whatever time of day it is, what would be some useful study? What would be something to look up on Wikipedia or read a book on or watch a program on or go onto YouTube? What would enrich? Is there something sort of outside of you that you kind of go, if I knew more about that, this would actually enrich my understanding and an appreciation and experience of this situation, that there's actually something that I could learn, sort of in a way. I know you can't really say objectively because everything's biased, but in a way I could really be informed in a more outer world kind of historical, social way on this, and that would enrich the way that I bring out my choices in this context. So I'm wondering, saw a few people nod their heads, so I wonder if there was something that popped up for anybody where you go, oh yeah, I'd like to think about that, or I'd like to find a book on that, or a resource for that. Who had an example of that? Yeah, Bernadette.
Yeah, I think I struggle with marketing and sales.
Yes.
And now I'm thinking, about deep trance identification and modeling. So, and all skills can be learned,
Yeah.
right? So right now, what came to mind is, of course, I've got the list, my curated list of examples in marketing and sales,
Yeah.
which, yeah. But then I'm really thinking about flexibility, So it's time for me to enlarge and enrich my repertoire. So
Yes.
maybe go and model people who excel in areas
Yeah.
where I feel I still have to learn,
Lovely.
and
That's
then
lovely.
clean it up and
Yeah.
simply model what is useful. And with
Brilliant.
NLP, with generative change
Yeah.
work, we've got
Yeah.
the
Lovely.
tools, so I
That's
can
right.
clean up all the idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you. So this
Thank
is
you.
about going outside of yourself
Yeah.
again and bringing kind of information and knowledge in. Yeah. Lovely. Lovely. Anybody else have something that just popped up where you go, oh yeah, I'm going to read a history book on that because I think that's going to help with this situation, or I'll watch anyway. That's the suggestion of it. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this 5 practices of the generative citizen. Coach state, the most important one, as you can see, that everything comes back to the state that we're in. Then ongoing personal development of one kind or another. Then really stepping into the shoes of other people, extending our circle of compassion, as Einstein would say, and having the skill to be able to do that. Really working with people's best intentions, even though they might not make sense, but that we can appreciate the inner lives of other people and through that extend compassion and understanding to them. And then to be able to use our language, use our melodious tones and our Scooby-Doo tones, and find keywords that kind of change everything for us. And then also looking out for, with our different issues, what could I study? How can I actually know more about this in a way that I can hold in my coach state and makes me a more educated and informed citizen. So I do, even though I might not share all my knowledge or impose it on people, I am walking around as a more and more knowledgeable kind of person. I'm trying to bring wisdom into these situations wherever I go. So I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Let's very quickly, we're right at the end. I mean, it would be so nice just to hear from everybody who's actually present, like something very brief, what you're going to take away from this evening. And then Vimla's got like a slide about our next events. So I'm wondering, so Jérôme, what have you, something, maybe a couple of words you've enjoyed or you'll take away?
Yeah, if I rewind a little bit on what you said, it's really about how to tell my truth without, but also try to see the other as really human beings and establish a dialogue, not just put my truth and that's it. But also,
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
sorry, I don't really have the words, but it's,
no, you're explaining very well.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's really, I think, what being a real citizen is, an engaged citizen is. We can step into other perspectives, and we can hear, and we can listen, we can receive, and we can be present with other people. Anyone else want to? So Wendy, maybe just a quick word, something.
Well, first of all, Judith, I'd like to thank you so much for your time and your energy and your insights tonight. It's
Thank
for
you.
me, yeah, on behalf of Generative, the events committee. I love the way you said portable practices, because for me, instead of seeing it all in a linear way, I've seen it, more horizontally and sort of the continuity, if you like. So for me, it's been so helpful to actually see that continuity and travel onwards to shine my light out to the community, albeit in a very small, humble way. But
yeah,
thank you, Judith.
Well, we're all in our small, humble way, Wendy. That's the thing, isn't it? But we can be together and we can be skillful in our small, humble ways. And that's going to be part of something, that makes a difference.
Exactly. Thank you, Judith, so much. Thank you.
Thank you. George, anything you want to just add? Sorry, we're going a little bit slightly over time, which I don't normally do. But
so what I'm taking away is the shadows and the sparkling rainbows. The shadows, sparkling rainbows.
Yeah, lovely. Jenny.
And dancing with them. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you, George. Thank you. Jenny, what will you?
It's like when I'm in coach, I'm so much more creative.
Yeah. It's so ludicrous, isn't it? Because we kind of go, oh yeah, I remember. I remember if I'm in coach, I'm just so much more creative, and I'm so much more fun to be with, even for myself, That's right. Iris, anything from you that you want to take away from this evening?
Yeah, I think today I'm nourished for my soul and I feel more empowered and freedom and very positive. Thank you. I enjoying this group. Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you. Mark, anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I was reminded how important it is to make the coach, once you've accessed your and helped others to access their coach state.
Yes.
It's just a starting point, and then asking useful, good questions, powerful questions, really simply. I put it into the chat. Is what are you noticing? What is different?
Yes.
So, systematic awareness, embodied consciousness, and then what does this make possible now?
Yes.
Just keeping the questions really simple. Just as intention, 5 words or less. The questions in that state need to be really simple as well.
I agree, and that direct people's attention back to their own experience. So they go, oh, I've kind of noticed something, Yeah, lovely. Thank you. James, how about you?
Lovely, thank you.
Just following on what Jenny said, I'm reminded of the importance of getting into a really resourceful coach state prior to doing planning or taking action.
Yes. Yeah. It's so crucial, isn't it? And then we kind of like, then we kind of go, oh yeah, I know what I should be doing first. As you say, prior to everything. Christina, anything you want to leave us with?
Well, I thank you very much. I think it was great to be remembered how important is that coaching state. And and for me, it's important to change positions, to the magic of movements, the magic of language, and the magic of knowledge and consciousness.
Yes. I think you've said that really well. You've summed that up by using the word magic.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Thank you.
And it inspired me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, come and join us. Anyone else? Thibaut, Maggie, Marianne, and Vimala. I think that's all that's here.
I'll say that it's always great to return to the practices, to the work, to the community. And there's so many shiny generative faces here. It's just that's resourcing in and of itself. So just community. Thank you. And just your passion, Judith. I always relearn something. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Judith, I'll just say thank you. I always get refreshed in the presence of other people in this community, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to remember. And also really thank you so much for the elegant simplicity of what you've put together to make it accessible.
Thank you. So great to see you. I feel exactly the same. It's just so lovely to see everybody. It just is a really lovely experience just to be together. Georgianne, any tired words from you? I'm so sorry you don't feel well.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
Gratitude. And inspiration.
Yeah.
You're a real inspiration, Judy.
Thank you. You too. Right back at you, Georgianne. Right back at you.
I've still got my humour, which is the one thing I got.
I know. And Maggie and Vimala, and Wendy, let me hand it back to you and just say thank you, everybody. Thank you to the Generative Citizen Events Circle for organizing this. And then they've got some news of further events. So, and Fahd, did you want to say anything? They just your disembodied hands. It's lovely to yay!
It's very late on my side and I'm feeling a bit sleepy, but that's why I'm just putting my camera off. Thank you so much for the experience. It was a great experience for me, and hearing also everybody, it was really great. I also felt during the exercises as well, it was like a revealing moment for me also earlier on. It was very interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for switching your camera on because it's lovely to see you. Yeah. Okay. Let me hand it back to the team.
Well, I would just like to say about the upcoming events. Seeing Thibaut here, of course, is great. And we're really looking forward again for the second time, I think, to welcome Thibaut as facilitator on November the 20th. So there's something really great to look forward to as well. Thank you.
It'll be amazing. I went to the last one. It was just fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Thibaut's work was so beautiful. All right, everybody. Lots and lots and lots of love. Bye for now. See you soon.
Thank you so much, Judith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Judith, and everybody.
Au revoir.
Thank you, everyone.
À
bientôt.
Wendy, the team. Thank you.
Do your practices. 5 practices. Come and join us, Generative Citizen.
See you in November.